This week at FC Midweek, we are continuing our message, the muttering must-haves. So check this out. Hey, welcome to FC Midweek. It's Justin Graves here. We are continuing our Sunday message, the muttering must-haves. Before I get to that, remember, we got new shirts. Don't do life alone. It's not a black shirt or a gray shirt. It's actually a colored shirt. It's blue. And so make sure if you want one, they're only $10. And you can get them here on Sunday morning right in the lobby. This Sunday coming up, we've got our plunge service, our baby dedications. It's going to be awesome, so don't you dare miss it. This past week, as we were doing the message, I got talking about the muttering must-haves, and we talked about the muttering and watch your mouth and watch what you say so that you're not saying angry words or harsh words or thoughtless words, and talked about that unity is intentional, not accidental, and we didn't get to the must-haves of the muttering must-have sermon. And so today I want to talk to you about that. It's actually my third point, and it's simply this: cultivate the right must-haves. Our culture, our society tells us what must-haves are. Recent must-haves, for example, would be rustic cuffs for ladies. I know it's still a popular thing, but not near as popular as it was. And I remember once going into the rustic cuff store on Harvard for Casey to surprise her like 2 years ago, right at the boom of this thing. I walked in and it was like Hobby Lobby on crack. And I was like, there's never again am I going to rustic cuff. And they're like, oh, this is a slow day. And I'm like, this is an insane day. Then I'm not. But everybody, how many cuffs do you have? How many bracelets? And it was a rustic cuff must-have. It was a cultural must-have. The whole Yeti thing, you know, the Yeti cup that cost $1 million to keep your coffee hot or your cold drink cold. And if you had a Yeti, you were like invited to the cool kids table, and you got your hat and your sticker and your cooler that cost $5 billion. And it's just like, don't you bring that Arctic cheap junk here, that Ozarka Trail stuff. It had to be a Yeti. It's a cultural must-have. The new Apple phones. I mean, cultural must-haves. And if we're not careful, we spend more time, we spend more resources going after cultural must-haves than we do what the Lord tells us are must-haves that we should be cultivating in our life. And it's found in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1 through 2, that Paul talks about what our must-haves as followers of Christ should be. And it says this: therefore, I, a prisoner for serving the Lord, beg you to lead a life worthy of your calling, for you have been called by God. Always be humble and gentle. Be patient with each other, making allowance for each other's faults because of your love. And that's the must-haves that we should be cultivating. God is saying, you know what the must-haves are? Do you really want to know what you must have as a follower of Christ? It's humility, it's gentleness, and it's patience. Because when you have that, you are making room, you are making allowance for each other's faults. Now, cultivating simply means this: it means to promote or improve the growth of something by labor and attention. To promote or improve the growth of something by labor and attention. And I've got to tell you, humility, gentleness, and patience doesn't just happen. You've got to be purposeful in cultivating those things in your life. So let's talk about gentleness for just a second. In 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 6 through 11, it says, yet true godliness with contentment is itself great wealth. After all, we brought nothing with us when we came into the world, and we can't take anything with us when we leave it. So if we have enough food and clothing, let us be content. But people who long to be rich fall into temptation and are trapped by many foolish and harmful desires that plunge them into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, and some people craving money have wandered from the true faith and pierced themselves with many sorrows. And Paul says this to his mentor, to Timothy. He says, but you, Timothy, are a man of God, so run from all these evil things. Stop trying to cultivate the wrong must-haves. Run from those. It's not about what you have. Run from that stuff. Pursue righteousness and a godly life along with faith, love, perseverance, and catch this, and gentleness. I got to tell you, gentleness isn't something that we hear about. It's not something that we really pursue a lot, because I think a lot of times when we think of gentleness, we think, oh, well, that's a timid person. That's the same as weakness. That's the same as a soft-spoken person. That's not the case. Being a gentle-spirited person doesn't mean that it's okay for you to be a wuss. It doesn't mean that you're not competitive. It doesn't mean that you're driven. It just means that your spirit isn't harsh, that your spirit isn't easily offended. But Jesus said, I come to me because I'm gentle in spirit. We're called to cultivate a spirit of gentleness. The second thing he tells us to cultivate is humility. In Proverbs verse 18, verse 12, it says, haughtiness goes before destruction. And we know that part. We know pride comes before destruction. But here's the promise of humility that I think we get away from. It says, but humility precedes honor. Humility comes before honor. And Proverbs 22 verse 4 says, true humility and the fear of the Lord leads to riches, honor, and a long life. And humility is put here for us to pursue for the benefit of our lives, for your life, for my life. And how you handle success will greatly determine how the rest of your life goes, how the future part of your life goes. And this is something that it's not popular to be this humble person to pursue humility. But if you want to live a life of honor, you've got to live a life of humility. Let it cultivate, labor, work on being a humble person, that it's not about you. It's not just about you showcasing all your trophies, but it's staying humble. You're living Tim McGraw life. Always stay humble and kind. That's what Paul's saying. That's where Tim McGraw stole it. Tim, you are a thief. Stay humble and kind. The last one is this, patience. 1 Thessalonians 5:14. Brothers and sisters, we urge you to warn those who are lazy, encourage those who are timid, and take tender care of those who are weak. And I hate these last four words. It says, be patient with everyone. Not just the people you like, not the people that don't get on your nerves, not the people that you don't have to work with, not the mean neighbor, you just be patient. No, be patient with everyone. And patience is something that you have to cultivate, that you have to promote or improve the growth of something by labor and attention. You're working at it. You're giving attention to it because you are cultivating patience. This is the spiritual must-haves for us as followers of Christ. And I would challenge you as your pastor, if you're going to watch your mouth, if you're going to, make unity something intentional, you've got to cultivate the right must-haves and work that into your life and let it be present. Let a gentle spirit be present at home, at work, wherever you go. Let there be patience when you're dealing with difficult people, when you're dealing with easy people, when you're dealing with family, when you're dealing with strangers, when you're dealing with business. Be patient with everyone and stay humble through it all. Man, I hope that you can join us this Sunday at 9 or 10:45 here at Foundations Church. We believe Found People, Find People, Foundations Church. Awesome things are happening here every Sunday. It's going to be an incredible Sunday. So go find your one. Be a found person that is making a difference in this world, and we will see you this Sunday.